Alexa, water heater off. Alexa, water heater off. All right. It's a real good thing I didn't change my mind. Do one more thing. We're recording. We're doing everything now. All right, perfect. Oh. We got about 25 seconds left, so go ahead and say hi in the chat. Wherever you are watching from, we are broadcasting live from a couple different places. Let me just get that all figured out. There we go. Are we live? Can you hear me? Recording. There we go. I can hear myself. Here we are. We're on zero. Oh, we're on zeros. Here we. Oh, let's hit the button. There we go. Hey, everybody. Jeffrey Powers here from Geekazine, Think Magazine, Put in a Geek. And today I am going live to show you the cool stuff that I'm going to be doing for CES 2025. Of course, this is going to be my it's my 16th year. I started, my first one was in 2009, and here I am. It's now 2024. Oh my goodness. I'm not exactly sure. That's kind of weird. I might have to refresh this. Hold on a second. There we are. So anyway, yeah, we are on LinkedIn. We are on YouTube. So go ahead and say hi in the chat wherever you're coming from. Appreciate that. So I've been going to CES 2025 since 2009. I went out and I connected up with a couple other podcasters, Todd Cochran and Andy McCaskey, and we walked the floor with even a couple other people that were podcast listeners, I guess. And we created got a lot of content. We started, basically starting with CES Unveiled, with Showstoppers, with Pepcom, and then, of course, the show. And it was a wild first year. Lots of cool stuff that I found, and really took Geekazine from this tier up to this tier. It's if you're into consumer electronics and you haven't gone to CES or Mobile World Congress or any of these other events, then it's very important that you think about figuring out how to attend one of them, because they make a world of difference. Now, that first year, I remember we then did some video for a couple Fortune 100 companies, live stream for Fortune 100 company as well. And then that created a relationship that lasted over 15 years with them. And then that's the bottom line, is the relationships that you actually get with going to an event like the Consumer Electronics Show. Now, the Consumer Electronics Show is held in January in Las Vegas, and you might think that that's just a beautiful thing to do, but it's really not. Vegas is kind of cold at that point in time. So I'm still wearing the same jacket. I'm still wearing the same gloves during the evening. During the day, it can get up to 50, 60 degrees, which being here, which might get up to 20, 30 degrees if I'm lucky in a January. It's really nice. So it is a more tropical paradise than here in Wisconsin. But the bottom line is, I'm not going there to sun and go to the pools and do all the parties and all that other stuff. I'm going there to create content. And I've created content for the last 15 years. We've done booth-to-booth interviews. We've done live streaming. We've done podcasting. We've done, you name it. We've done that at CES. And, of course, CES 2025. I guess this is my 6th. I thought it was my 15th, but I guess it's my 16th year at CES. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm going to really, hopefully very enjoyable, and I'll learn a lot from this. Now, you go to an event for 15, 16 years, you kind of get numb to some of the technologies there, which is sad, because somebody might say, hey, I got a new iPhone case. And you're like, what makes it different from the 50,000 other iPhone cases that I've seen in the last 10, 12, 15 years? And sometimes they do show some extra excitement to it. So the idea is to not only find the gems, but make sure that you got to keep those eyes wide open. View it like you're going there for the absolute first time. And then, of course, capture the content. And I've captured content, like I said, many different ways. I've done booth-to-booth interviews through cameras, through large cameras, through small cameras, through medium-sized cameras. 2009, the flip cameras were out there. And there was a company called Kodak, and they had the ZI-8. And I brought that with me. Actually, I had another flip camera first, in which it didn't have a microphone jack. So I actually opened it up and soldered a microphone jack into it so I could actually plug in a microphone. And it worked. It worked for CES. And then after CES, it just said, nope, not going to do it anymore. Not going to do it. So I got a lot of great content from that little flip camera. And we called it B-roll, because we had bigger Panasonic over-the-shoulder cameras that we were using for the main content. And, of course, we created, with the Tech Podcast Group, I helped them create, we did about 300-400 videos, something like that. It was crazy between the three of us. We did everything we could to go booth to booth to booth. But the ZI-8s and the flip cams, this was starting to get into the new realm of content creation. So with the ZI-8, Kodak ZI-8, it was like, it kind of looked like your phone. It had a little camera on it, but it also had a microphone jack to it. And that's what I loved about it. And it could you could record 1080p video. In fact, the first year or two of videos that I did on Geekazine, whether it be going out or doing some of the shows that I did that ended up on YouTube and Blip TV and all those others, they all were recorded through the ZI-8. I wouldn't want to record through that today because it wouldn't look as halfway decent as this does. But the whole point is that it was a great way to start, and we got a lot of content out of there, and it was amazing. And a lot of people actually kind of stopped me in that first year where because I had the ZI-8, we had it on a stand, a tripod. We had a wireless mic on it. We had a light on it, so I actually did a couple interviews with this ZI-8, and people were stopping me and was going, "What is that? That's crazy." And of course, Kodak at the time was creating some great camera content. They're still doing camera content. It's more in retro camera than anything, but with the ZI-8, it was a great turn of events for video, because we were just getting the iPhone out there. iPhone didn't have too many accessories to it. Still had the 30-pin connector. Companies like AK Multimedia were just starting on scene with their microphones that you could hook up to the iPhone. And, of course, microphones you could hook up through the headphone jack, because that was a thing back then. But, of course, the video quality was really not as there as we wanted it to be. When we got to, like, iPhone 4, iPhone 5, and then we started getting a lot of great devices to connect up to the phone. That's when things really started to change for the iPhone. But we were still in this whole other alternative to iPhones for any type of extra work. A lot of people were bringing DSLRs, of course, and they were bringing these smaller cameras that could do video, but I tried to keep it as small as possible, and that's where the ZI-8 came in. Fast forward, through the 15 years, I've brought many cameras to CES. I have my Sony, which I brought for many years, and added the Sony wireless rig, and so we could do one-on-one interviews better. And then I also brought this guy right here. This is the Insta360 RS 1-inch sensor, 360 degrees. And of course, there's a lot of post-production to get it to look like an H, because I didn't do the 360 videos. I did them as HD videos. And the cool thing about that was you could move around with the camera and have a lot of fun. I did a lot of Korea vlogging on this thing. Vlogging on this thing, and it was just amazing. So I did it for CES, and I had a lot of fun with it, but it's also a lot of work. And I did do a couple 360 videos from CES, and that was also a lot of work, but it came out with it ended up with 360 video on the channel. So the bottom line is I did this many different ways. I've also set up small rigs where I've taken laptop and a couple cameras, and we streamed from the show floor. That can be a hit or miss situation, because even today, the network signal in the middle of a crowded convention center is almost too much. In fact, it's mostly too much for a lot of these 2.4 gigahertz wireless microphone rigs that people take, and so they end up with a lot of skips and bumps and boops. So that's why I'm sticking with the RF wireless, my Sony wireless microphones, for the best possible connection without having a wire to them. So, but anyway, we're talking about CES 2025, and now it's time to kind of push this into the next realm. What is the next realm of pushing for CES? Well, that is multi-camera connection. And that is what we're going to show you today. That's what I'm going to be talking about today with this whole setup. We are going to do basically a one-on-one multi-cam solution for CES. And I'm really excited about this because I've been testing this for the last couple weeks, and not only does it have enough battery to last throughout the day, it's also got enough battery to also charge some of the other devices. And I've got solutions for up close, far away, and everything in between. And the best part is it's going to fit into my backpack really easily. Now, I like to call things backpack streaming. That are small cameras, small devices, because you can fit them in a backpack. You can go on a nature hike or whatever. You can capture what you want, and then you bring it back and boom, put it up on YouTube or whatever. You could do the long route by just getting B-roll and interviews, and then turn around and have some editor edit it down and upload it, which I've done in the past. But sometimes you just need to get the content out there. And being a one-man operation at these events, it makes it a little bit harder to actually record, edit, upload, create a post, create a YouTube channel or YouTube post, and then get it all out there. So a lot of times I would not post my content until I got back from CES. If I was lucky, on Monday, because we have an event on Sunday, and then on Monday morning, I would then be able to have enough time to do a little bit of editing to at least get 1 or 2 videos up. But it was always a pain, and I'm hoping that this new setup for 2025 is going to change the game, because it's multi-cam setup in one rig. Now, we've had devices that have done multi-cam in one rig before. YOLO box, YOLO Live's YOLO box, perfect example. And I have a couple YOLO boxes back there. The biggest problems with that, one was the battery life. I could probably get maybe an hour out of that. 2 was there was a little question on quality, but now they have the YOLO Box Ultra. I'm not sure how that is. I don't have that one yet. I have the YOLO Box Pro and the YOLO Box OG and the InStream, which is the vertical one, so you can take TikToks and Instagram lives and things like that. But when I saw this last year at National Association of Broadcasters, I knew this device was going to be the core of what I'm going to be doing for CES 2025. So, without any further ado, we're going to switch cameras here. I'm going to pull it out right here. This is the rig for CES 2025. And you're going, wow, that's kind of odd. That's kind of weird. Yeah, it is. But it is everything that I've learned in the last few years, and then some, and then really incorporating this into one big device that's going to help me with creating content and getting, like I said, one-on-one interviews, being able to do a one-on-one person interview, being able to have a camera point at the product in question and of course adequate lighting for the whole thing. And that's what this whole thing encompasses. Everything is on here. There's only two pieces missing. I'm going to show you one piece. The second piece is the wireless microphone system, which I'll be using my Sony digital wireless microphone system, RF microphone system, like I have in years past. The only problem is I kind of can't find it right now. I moved a few months ago, and it's somewhere down here, but I haven't been able to find it yet. I'll find it though. Anyway, so let's take a look at this, because it is basically, there are definitely 3 different brands, actually 4 different brands if you count the light, and a 5th brand with this extra piece that I'll show you in a minute. 5 altogether here. And I want to check something before we continue on here. Okay, there we are. All right. So we're going to start with the, we'll go here, here, and then we're going to go down here. This is going to be the first piece right here. This is the OBSBot Talent. What this is a all-in-one hardware switching device. And so I can bring in 2 HDMI video feeds. I can bring in 2 USB feeds. And I can also connect up wirelessly via NDI and SRT, which I'm not going to do at CES because, once again, wireless signals are almost impossible in some places. And you'll get some very spotty performance. And we don't want spotty performance. We want spot-on performance. And that's what we're going for with this. So the OBSBot Talent can do all of that. It can also send signal out. I could actually connect this up to the computer. I can't right now because the plug is actually in the cage to the point where I can't get to the plug to do that. So I can't show you firsthand the screen. But what I can do is I can show you how this works from here and basically go from there. Speaking of which, let's move on here. We're going to zoom out a little bit. I want to show you the cage. This is a newer, Neewer. I've used newer products for many years. I got these cages back in the pandemic when we were building fly kits. Basically, a kit that I would then put into a Pelican case. I would ship to somebody's house. They would set it up. They'd plug in 2 things, power and internet, and then they could actually do a one-on-one conversation, take the device, put it back into the Pelican case, ship it back to me. That was the whole idea of this. And these cages had enough space, not only to put, I put Android phones in, but also I could wire around things like USB dongles for the card, the SD card that was used to record the video from here. Put on a light, put on everything else, and these are very modular. There is another company called Small Rig, which we do have some of the Small Rig stuff on here, which I'll show you in a minute. But the base cage, the reason why I'm using this, a couple of different reasons why. One is it's got handles. I like that idea. 2 is it's actually got a screw mount on the bottom for the Talent, so I can easily take it on, take it off, pull it on in a travel situation. And then, of course, it's got more than enough room to handle the Talent, because there is no cage made for the Talent. And first of all, I do have to mention this. Actually, I have to mention a couple things. First of all, I do have to mention that the Talent and a couple of these other pieces were given to me for review. They're not sponsoring CES action or anything like that. All opinions, of course, are my own of the content that the hardware that I use. And of course, you can find all that information over at geekazine.com/review. All my policies and procedures on how I use products and how I review products as well. So anyway, that's the first thing. The second thing is the Talent. We're going to talk about the OBSBot Talent again. Going back here, this OBSBot Talent is also known as a Magewell Director Mini. Now, that might be a little bit confusing, but OBSBot licenses this device from Magewell. So Magewell has some, different things like all the logos will have Magewell on it, of course, has a different interface, all that other stuff. But a lot of very similar things with the OBSBot Director Mini the OBSBot Talent versus the Magewell Director Mini. And it really is, if you use a lot of the OBSBot products, it makes sense, it makes sense to have the Talent into the mix as well here. So anyway, all right, so we have the OBSBot Talent, which I'm going to go turn on. And this is all battery driven. I'm going to show you the batteries here. This is another Neewer product. These are what's called MPF batteries. And these are massive batteries. These are 10,000 milliamp batteries each. So 20,000 milliamps. And I'm going to have another one on the side just in case. But I've been running tests with these all for the last week or two. And these will power this box for a good deal of the day, about 4 to 6 hours. Having an extra battery in there is only going to help me even more. These NPF batteries, or NFP batteries, are amazing. There's lots of changes to these batteries. I got to turn this on really quick. There we go. Lots of changes from the last time that I bought these types of batteries. Like, for instance, we got the indicator right there telling me that I've got 100% on these batteries. We've got ports that will allow me to charge other devices via USB. On the bottom, I actually have what are called CAN plugs. If I had a camera that could connect up to that CAN plug, I would get the proper adapter, and then I just plug it into this battery and then plug it into the other device. So, or a confidence monitor or any other devices. I could plug this. You can't see the light right now, but I could plug this LED light into here, and that keeps this charged. I'm going to be plugging in one of the other devices I'm going to show you in a minute here, and I'm going to plug that in here because that other device only gives me about an hour on its battery. But plugged in here, I will have all day charge as long as I turn it off and turn it back on at key intervals. And then, of course, once again, the third and possibly even fourth batteries. I might get a fourth battery just to keep things going here. But the best part about this is just this charge right now. So we'll go down here. I think you can see it. It says 100%, 100%. And I've been running this on and off for about an hour now as I've been plugging in different devices here. Now, this is the Talent. And as you can see, we can see some of the cameras that are already on there. But the first thing I did was I created a graphic. That's my Geekazine CES graphic. I might change that as I go create a new picture with the new logo, the new Geekazine logo. But I can bring that in and then, of course, go into the main scene through the first camera here. What is the first camera? That's this little guy right here. Let's zoom in on it. This is the OBSBot Meet 2. It's a 4K camera. It's only, the Talent's only doing 1080p, but this is a 4K camera. And I'm going to move this over a little bit so you can see me. And we'll do that. Oop, too much. There we go. So this is, let's go. No, I don't have a quarter. I have a foreign coin here, but the whole point is this is about the size of a quarter. You can see the difference. It's a pretty small camera. And I've used this in different situations. Like, for instance, I recorded a band a few weeks ago, and I put this as the drummer cam. And the best part about this is it's so small, it can fit right underneath the cymbal and not get in the drummer's way. And I really liked that, and so that's why I used it. I connected this USB connected camera, so you can use it as a webcam. It comes with a mount that you can put on top of your monitor. But in this case, I've got it connected up to a small rig shoe that's onto this rig right here. So this can do 4K, but it's only going to be doing 1080 into the Talent because the Talent only does 1080p. It has the features of the OBSBot tail cameras and the tail and the OBSBot. Oh, what's the other? all the OBSBot 360 cameras, where if you hold up your hand, it can start following you. If you do this, it'll zoom in, zoom out. You can also disable that, which is what I did. I disabled all that for this little camera right here. So all it's doing is it's getting, and I think it's what was it, 128 degree view. All it's going to be doing is getting me and the person I'm interviewing. This is the main camera right here. The secondary camera, got to zoom out a little bit. It's also an OBSBot. This is the OBSBot Tail Air. This is second generation of their OBSBot Tail, and it is an amazing little camera, 360 degree, or not 360 degree, excuse me. Pan tilt zoom, that's the word I'm looking for. Pan tilt zoom, PTZ camera that I can use to do anything that I want. I can manually move it by hand, or I can move it through here, or the remote control that I'm also going to be bringing with me to the event. Now, this might be hit or miss because once again, this is going wireless. So, but it's only going to do simple commands. So right now, I have this set up for basically 2 shots. We got the main shot, which will then point to me and the interviewee, maybe even the interviewee itself, and then second shot, which will look at the product. And if I position this right, I don't think I can, yeah, if I position this right and do this, and then we go to here, oops, go back down here and over here, you can see, there we go. You can see when I push the button right here, it comes back up to me and then goes down to the product. And I can then bring it down to the product even more. So if it's like this remote we're talking about, as you can see, I can bring that into the shot. And can't do it too much or else the camera gets in the way. But you get the idea. So I can have this pointed at somebody's hands talking, and then I can turn around and I can switch it up to here and then have the one-on-one interview with this person. Right now I'm not in the right shot to do that, but we can bring this back a little bit so you can see. So let's say I'm in the middle of this. There we go. And then I can switch it over to here. And then we're talking about the product. So we're seeing the product. And here's the next part. This is a picture-in-picture of the product, which is right there, and then of us, which is right here. So now I have a 3-camera shot where I can use this to interview, get the product information without having to move the camera around. If let's say the product is this this cube right here. So we'll put the cube into play right there, and we'll set it there. We'll have a conversation. I can move it around. You can see the cube in action, and then turn around. Let's do that. There we go. And then turn around and then just go back and forth and talk to them, and then show the product, and then talk to them, and then finish out the show. Now I'm doing a lot of switching down here, which I can do, and of course I can also add in other things, like I can add in graphics, like I can make a lower third that I can put in here, or I can just leave that at that, and then bring these in at like this. So as you can see, I could start and create a whole show simply by hitting the screen, tapping the screen, going to the next thing, going to the next thing, back and forth. Now I'm touching the screen, which a lot of times I don't want to do. So the other cool thing about the Talent is it does have a web page service. So all I have to do is connect up the phone to the Talent, and then go to the page, the local host page, and allow that to control the camera, including switching. Now, you're saying to yourself, well, you just said you don't want to do too much wireless stuff, and you're absolutely right. There might be situations where I'm going to just have to touch the screen over using the phone. But if I have the opportunity to hold onto the phone and then just do the switching back and forth from there, then I can do that. Plus, I have a dedicated iPhone that I can use that will do the switching. And also, it can hold some notes from the product that we're talking about, things like that. So a lot of stuff that's involved in here. But the bottom line is that I can create up to I can put 4 cameras on here, 2 HDMI, 2 USB, and have something that will do a lot of different things. The one thing that's missing from this camera rig right now is the fact, let's just switch it back here. The one thing that's switching from this camera rig right now is something with an optical zoom. The Tail has a digital zoom of only 4x. And if you zoomed in 4x, it's going to look horrible, bottom line. So I'm going to be trying this. I got handy cams and everything, but I wanted to try this. Once again, I got these at NAB. I talked to the company at NAB. They sent me product for review. It wasn't ready for prime time, and there's still a few issues that I have with it. But one thing it does do is it does an optical zoom. And this is the Nearstream VM33. And what this is, 1080p, they also have 4K versions that has up to 40x zoom in here. Now, what that means is I can connect this up, and on the back you can record through the SD card, or you can go USB-C. So I take a USB-C. I need to do a USB-C to USB-A cable, and I plug this into my Talent. Let's do that right now. Plug it in the right spot. Yeah. There we go. It will automatically turn on. You didn't see that. But it also shows up as a webcam in a second here, once it gets connected. Now, with this, there are a couple on-site interviews or press releases that I will be going to. And with this camera rig, it will not zoom properly to get in on the person. So that's where I'm implementing this right here. And I'm hoping this will connect up soon. Worked before. It's just going to take a second. But the whole point is, once this connects up, I'll be able to not only run this, but I'll also use my phone to be able, once this connects up, it's going to take a minute. I'll connect it up, and I'll be able to zoom in on a speaker. I'll be able to add it into my shot if I want to, or I can let this stand alone. This has got a 6-hour battery in it. So I could set this up and let it record to SD card and then pull it later. But if I'm doing a show like this, let me just... It's not connecting up as quick as I wanted it to. Mostly because I think it's because of the fact that I want it to work right now. You know how that goes, right? I think I know what's got to do here. Yeah, it's switched over to the other Wi-Fi. There's a lot of Wi-Fi coming through here. All right. Well, we'll keep going from here, but the whole point is that I can get this set up so I can run it into here as a USB camera, or I can run it in here and just run it as a standalone. So I can unplug it, hit the record button, and it's supposed to record. It's not seeing it for some reason. Let's unplug this, and maybe that'll connect from there. Oh, I see. I didn't turn it on. It was actually charging the battery. That's why it wasn't working. Okay. Oh, I love it when I do stuff like that. Anyway, there we are. Okay, so now it's turning on. I should be able to see it here in a second, but we'll also be able to see it down here as well. Once I reset this up. There we go. Look at that. As you can see, it's zooming in and out, and of course it does the focus. This, like I said, this has a 40x zoom. So if I'm in the back of a hall, let's say the Sony keynote, and I want to record that Sony keynote, I can set this up now to get to the front of the hall if I want to. And through the app, you're seeing some of the mess of my studio. Through the app, I'll be able to, connect now. Okay. Connect. Done. There we are. So through here, I can adjust and I can zoom in. 40 is a digital and optical mix, so I highly recommend not doing 40 if you have a camera like this. But it gets pretty up there. I mean, we're looking at an Ethernet cable right there, and it's pretty grainy. It's very grainy. I kid you not. Of course, it's also shooting into the dark, but we'll go 20x zoom. And it's something like a 12 to 20 we'll definitely get from the back of a hall to the stage and get a pretty decent shot of whoever's on stage. So this is going to be great for capturing those events. Now, this is all the cameras. We'll zoom this out a little bit more. These are all the cameras that I'm going to be taking. Plus, this is just a little LED panel light from VJIM. I've had this for a few years. This light, I could be using this light. I could be using this LED light. I have a few different ones. I haven't figured out which one I'm going to use yet, because about 80% of the time I probably won't even be using an LED light for interviews, because the hall does a pretty decent job with lighting anyway. So, but I can take this off and I can put this right on top of the rig, so I can use that for, like I said, for capturing the moment of that. Plus, if I set this up, if I set this up as a picture-in-picture, now I can have the person talking. We could be capturing that through a microphone through here, and then I could be talking through my wireless microphone and give you kind of like the blow-by-blow play of an event. And that's all through here. We're going to be doing that. So keep that in mind. It's pretty amazing what we can do. What we can do with the system. Because if you've ever watched my shows before, you know I'm a one-man band when it comes to creating content down in the studio here. And so I have PTZ cameras, which I love. I've got the front camera, I've got the back camera, I've got the overhead camera, all PTZ cameras that allow you to see what I'm seeing for an unboxing, for a first look, for a product, whatever's. This is going to be able to let me take that to a level of going to events and doing one-on-one interviews. And it's pretty exciting, very exciting. the fact that, like I said, the battery life on these things, on this device right here, is going to allow me to get 5 to 6 hours worth of content on those two batteries alone is just amazing. I still have to do a couple of recordings to see how much of the card content, but I can also adjust how much the data rate on the videos, so I can get like 10 gig, or I'm sorry, 10 megabyte 1080p videos, or 4 megabyte, depending on where I am, what I'm doing, because we're going to get content out as quick as possible. And that's the other cool thing is not really post editing anything. I'm going to forego the lower third graphics, I believe. We'll see. I'm going to play with that this week and see if there's anything that I can get for a good lower third graphic. But putting in somebody else's graphic is not really possible when it comes to stuff like this. And maybe down the line, some of these will not get posted right away. Some of these will then get a little bit post-processed, maybe take out some of the pauses and anything like that. But for the most part, the content that you see at CES during the week of CES will be coming from this device right here. And now you might be wondering, well, what's the weight on this thing? It's about 8 pounds, all said and done. So if I was walking around with this, it will definitely take a toll on my arm. But I'm going to have it on a monopod, and I have a very specific monopod I use. And if you've seen my stuff before, you've seen me run around with these monopods. They have huge feet to them, and they've held more than just this type of rig in years past. So I trust these monopods. They have shoes on them. So I can actually set them up just like you would any other camera. And most of the time I'll be holding on to the monopod, because lots of people passing by, lots of people not looking, and one's going to definitely plow into the camera. I had that happen only once at CES when I put the camera to the side. Somebody wasn't looking. They plowed right into my camera system, and it fell to the floor. And so you just got to watch out for that a little bit as you're going. If you don't have a second camera person, then you have to be a little bit more vigilant on it. But for the most part, this is also something where I could have literally this far apart from me and get the interview that I need to, and still have a hand on the remote rig just in case. So that is what I wanted to show you today. I'm really excited about this rig simply because of the fact it is, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. It is an I don't want to say an upgrade. It's an evolution in creating content. Now, there's other ways I could use this. I mean, we could do this for show floor interviews. With somebody could run the SD card back to a booth, and then of course they could be playing that live within minutes. And I might be even doing that if I can get a good internet connection. I can send this video to a cloud or something like that, get it up on YouTube, and then have it playing within the hour of having it recorded. But being able to do this and have a one-on-one interview, have control. If somebody comes along and says, "Hey, can I help with with switching back and forth?" They can do the switching and run the camera. And the best part, and this is the one part I didn't talk about just yet, and that's these small rig shoes. When I found these shoes, I was just like, oh yeah, they need to be part of this. Small rig does make cages, and they didn't have a cage for the OBSBot talent, so that's why I went with the newer. But they have some great cages for your DSLR that wrap around the DSLR. And then maybe someday we'll get a cage that'll work with this device. But for now, I've got this cage. But they've got these great shoe mounts that are super small. I mean, look at this. That's the camera, that's the shoe. Push down, and I can dismount it right like that. So let's say I want to go from a self-interview style to a I'm interviewing somebody else style. I just have to flip around the camera. Of course, the PTZ camera, I can turn that through the remote. But as you can see, I can also, just like any other shoe camera, I can detach it and get this ready to put in my bag. Because I did get some cases, like for instance, this case right here, which you can't see. This case is an all-purpose case from a company called GLCON. Got it off of Amazon, of course. This is what the Talent is going to be put into every night. I got a couple other cases that will hold the batteries. And of course, when I find my wireless camera system, that's in its case in itself. So once I unearth that from the studio here, then most likely not only will I put that in there, I could also probably put the camera in and a couple other things. The OBSBots have their own, I don't have a case close by, do I? Yeah, the OBSBots have their own cases. So this thing can be taken apart fairly easy. And even with the newer, there's screw mounts right here that can unscrew, and I can take apart this as best as possible. All the cables are going to be short, so they're not going to be in the way. The only exception being the one with the near stream, because if I decide that I want to put this somewhere else, then I can do that. So I want to have a little bit more cord when it comes to the USB-C to USB-A connection. And then, well, of course, if I don't use that connection to the Talent, then I can just record from there. So, and as you can see, it's flat. It's the funny thing is it is flashing, which means that it is also charging the battery as we go. And from the last 20 minutes that we talked, we're still at 100% on both batteries, which is crazy. Now, I haven't been recording, of course, that's true. Haven't been streaming. So that will definitely take a bigger bite out of the battery. But I am very confident from what I'm doing, from all the tests that I've done in this last week, that this guy right here will easily be able to go through a day. And like I said, I'm going to get a couple more batteries just to be absolutely sure. And they pop off super easy. No problem right there. So anyway, this is the rig. We'll go through the rig one more time. The OBSBot Talent. We got a newer cage right here. The OBSBot Talent has 2 NFP batteries at 10,000 milliamps each. We've got the OBSBot Tail Air for PTZ ability with the OBSBot Tail Air remote. We got the OBSBot Meet, which is going to be the one-on-one interview. We've got a standard LED light. That might change as we go. And then if I get far away shots, I'm going to be using the Nearstream VM33 for optical. And I could change this out last minute to a Handycam style camera. But for the most part, I think I'm going to try this and see how this works. But this is the rig that I'm going to be taking with me to CES for the interviews, plus the wireless lavalier and the wireless camera. I can do a whole ton of stuff. One thing I didn't talk about the Talent is the Talent can be set up as a vertical camera. And I can set this up through a setting inside the Talent. So I can say, this is the studio. And then I tap on the screen and I hit the hamburger menu and I can change my show list. You can't see that. Let's go down here. Let's see if you can see that. There we go. So from here, if I change the show, I have the show list that has my default show, the CES show, and then I have a vertical studio. So if I turn this, now I don't have the cameras set up, but as you can see, do that. Here we go. As you can see, I can now set this up for all-in-one vertical streaming. I'm going to leave a lot of the vertical streaming to my phone, in which what I'll do is I'll actually have on my wireless rig, I actually have a way to plug in to the lightning port. Well, it'll be the iPhone 12, so the lightning port, so I can actually use that to record. I'll be using Blackmagic's camera app to do any capturing of video, and for verticals, 1 to 2 minutes of a vertical video is what I'll be planning. So that's what you'll see up on TikTok, that's what you'll see up on Instagram Reels, and of course YouTube Shorts. So all right, in a nutshell, out of a nutshell, all around the nutshell, this is the setup that I'll be using for CES. Let's just switch that back. There we go. The setup that I'll be using for CES 2025. What do you think? What are you going to be using? Are you going to be going to CES 2025? Let me know. You can let me know by going over to geekazine.com geekazine.com or youtube.com/geekazine. I know that says amazon.com/shop/geekazine. I forgot to change that. That's okay. But the whole point is that you can go over to geekazine.com, check this all out. Have any questions? All the products are actually down in the description down there, so definitely check that out. We didn't get any questions, I don't think. No, we did not. So we're going to leave it at that. And that is it for me. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. You guys geek out. Follow the channel for when the CES action starts to happen. You'll be notified instantly. And of course, if you subscribe, I appreciate that very much. We also have branded merch from Geekazine, which over at YouTube, you'll see over at Teespring, but over at amazon.com/shop/Geekazine, you'll see the merch section, in where you can buy one of the t-shirts that I designed, and I've got new designs coming a little bit after CES. But you can get the I Like Geek Butts and I Cannot Lie, the original Geek AI shirt that I created using one of my first AI projects, and then a lot more, including some new t-shirts, Before You Geek Out coffee. And then what's the other one? There's another t-shirt. I'm running out of thoughts on that. And anyway, so you can definitely support the channel by buying one of the t-shirts, sweatshirts, sweaters, whatever. And then check out all the products. All of these are affiliate links, and I appreciate that very much if you click on that and purchase through those links. But no pressure. No pressure. So anyway, that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for listening. I hope you show me your rigs. If you're going to CES, show me your rigs. What are you going to be taking with you? Let me know in the comments below. And then you guys geek out and have a great weekend. And we'll see you at CES 2025. Take care.